Alright guys, in my last video I had gotten a little bit ahead of myself. I was so excited to show you guys how to do the actual brickwork construction that I forgot to finish the tunnel portal opening as far as doing the framework for the tunnel portal. So let's back up a few steps here. First thing we want to do is we want to turn off the brickwork so we don't see it. And we need to turn on our tunnel portal sketch. So I think it's let's that sketch there. Okay. Now in order to make our framework, we need to come back over here to where the sketch that we need to work with is lit up. The eye is on that, we can see it. We need to right click it, and we need to go down here to edit sketch and left click. Now we can work on these lines, because what we want to do is we want to offset it. So offset, click our tunnel portal opening. I want to make this 5 millimeters, so 0.5 is our tunnel portal opening. Now we want to extrude this opening. So E for extrude, click on just the frame. I know I want this to be, for right now, we can always change it to 3 millimeters, so 0.3 of a centimeter. And as always, make sure you select a new body. Okay. Now we're going to come up here and name this. Portal frame. And we want to hide it. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to create a keystone for the center of our arch. So we're going to come back up here to sketch, and you can select, I would not select on the arch itself, but you can select on either one of these. I'm just going to select here, and I don't know why, but it always likes to flip it over on me. Come back up here, and the first thing we're going to need to do is we need to make a center point line that we can work off of. So we're going to come up here to line. I like to come back here to our origin because we know this is the very center. You can see it kind of drags. When you do that, you can see how it drags a nice straight line up. So we'll click above it, back down to our, anywhere in here actually, doesn't really matter. That is a line. This is a line we're just going to be working off of. We're not going to be actually using it. We'll be deleting it here in a minute. Now for my keystone, I want the bottom section to be approximately 6 millimeters wide, so it's 3 millimeters on either side. So again, we're going to grab a line tool, and this is wherever you might want it, so we can zoom in if you want how far down you want it to hang. I'm going to have it hang down just a little bit here. Click on that, let's go to the right, 0.3 of a millimeter. Grab our line tool again. Click right here, let's go to the left, 0.3 of a millimeter. That is the bottom portion of our capstone, our center stone, our keystone, I guess is the actual word for it. Now we need to do the top, and that is going to be 1 centimeter in width total. So let's start up here. Again, anywhere you want it to be. Go here to the right, 0.5, so 5 millimeters. Okay, you can hit L for line, by the way, you don't have to keep going up here. Go here to the left, 0.5 millimeters. Now why we did this bottom lines and top lines first are now that when we join it to make our keystone, the angles are going to be exactly the same on both sides. There will be no guesswork this way. So L for line tool again, click that point, drag it down to this point, click it. Now since I did not hit enter, the line tool is still selected, I can grab this point, come down here to this point, click. Okay, now I'm going to hit escape to get rid of that tool. I'm going to click on this line, backspace to delete it. Here is our capstone. Now we know that we extruded our frame here 3 millimeters. So I'm going to extrude, so E for extrude, our capstone. Let's do it 0.45 of a millimeter. Again, a new body, because we are going to work with this here in a little bit. These are just getting our basics down, so to speak. Turn off of that. Let's turn the frame back on. And there's what the opening is going to look like once we get opening. Let me throw the brickwork on here real quick. And there is the brickwork. As you can see, yes, the brickwork is underneath of this, but it's not going to be printed because it is underneath it. Alright guys. And we can leave all this stuff on if we want to. It's not a big deal. I am going to actually create the header next. So I'm actually just going to turn all of this off so I don't have to look at it. It doesn't distract me. Now the header that I want, again, we're going to create a sketch, click on the front of the wall here, grab our 2-point rectangle, and I do believe I called this a 2-point triangle in the last video. I apologize. It is definitely a rectangle. We know this is going to be 8.5 centimeters wide, and I want it to be, how deep do I want this to be? Let's make this 5 millimeters down, and let's extrude this out. Let's make this extrusion 6 millimeters, so 0.6. Again, a new body. There is the top of our header. Now let's make this header a little fancy. What we're going to do, we're going to cheat a little bit here. It's not actually cheating, but we're going to grab this header. We're going to create a copy. And we are going to drag this copy down. I'm going to drag it down a little ways. That way I have access to the inside faces of both of these so we can align them really well. So click OK. Next thing I want to do is I want to align this to this. So we're going to grab our align tool, click on the inside of this object and the inside of that object, and it brings them together. Again, I may have mentioned, or I forgot to mention in the last video, I mentioned it in the previous set of videos when we did the shed, but you see me moving things around here. All that is you click and hold down the center scroll button and you use your mouse or trackball to move the object around the screen. And if you want to move it around, or actually rotate it, you hold down the center scroll button, the shift key, actually it's a shift key, then a center scroll button, then you can rotate this in any direction that you want. And as always, if you get lost, come back up here, hit the home, and it brings it back to the home base. Alright, enough of that. This I want to make a little bit shorter than this, so we're just going to extrude it down. So E for extrude, and I only want it to be 3.5 millimeters tall. We have it at 6 millimeters right now, so that is 2.5 millimeters. So minus 2.5. Whoa, back up. Minus 0.25. That's much better. We're doing a cut. Next thing I want to do is we're going to add a little bit of fanciness to this. I'm going to roll this edge. So we come up here to our fillet. But I don't want to do a rolling ball. I want to do a setback. And so click on setback. Click on this edge here. And I'm going to push it all the way in. Now that's what setback looks like. That's what I like for this. Now let me go back and cancel this and show you what the rolling ball looks like. Okay, rolling ball is your standard, what pops up every time. And it looks pretty much the same. Boy, I feel like a fool. There are different points on different things I've designed where it does make a difference. Apparently not this time. I don't think so. Setback. constant. Talking to myself too much. I like setback. It looks slightly different to me. Doesn't it look different to you? We'll go with that. Alright. Okay. Now we're not done just yet. I want to make a little fancy, I don't know if you call them porticles or I don't know what they are, but we're going to make something fancy. We're going to look at it sideways here. Now I'm going to turn my brickwork on just so I can see the depth of it. It's kind of like eyeball what I'm going to do here. We're going to create a new sketch, and I'm just going to create on this plane. And what we're going to do here is, it's this again. This is going to be completely and totally up to you what you want to do. I'm just going to use a line tool. I'm going to start on this corner. I'm going to come out a little ways, click it, come down at an angle, click it, come back out just straight a little bit more, click it, come down at an angle. I didn't want that much of an angle, I clicked too soon. Let's see here. We're going to come straight down, meet up with this edge, come up here to the corner, and we'll close it. And you can see it set it right there in the very center. Now I do want to turn my portal frame on to make sure. Well, see that's too. See, I'm glad I did that because that's going to interfere with the keystone. That's way too big. I think maybe I'll leave my keystone on as I redesign this. Now it lets me push it in. You see how that worked? Now actually I'm just going to get rid of that. That's all. I'm going to start from scratch. So you can right click there and click delete. So again, let's start from scratch. Sketch. We're going to sketch on this plane. We're not going to get quite as crazy this time. Come out a little bit. Come down a little bit. What's that going to look like? Well, that might look okay. Let's extrude it and see. Again, make it a new body. Let's do 2.25 of a centimeter. Click OK. Now let's align this. So click your align tool, come up here, click the side of this new object we just created. Let's align it right up here at the side. Click OK. Guess I need to get back to some housekeeping here real quick. Do some naming. Keystone. Header. Alright, all the rest of this is going to be combined to this header when we get done. So I'm just going to leave it at that. That looks a little thinnish to me. Let's pull this out a little bit. 0.05. Make it 3 millimeters wide. That looks a little bit better. Now let's go and do a fillet again. I'll do a setback again here. Just give it a little bit. Just round these corners off a little bit here. Actually, let's do both corners at the same time. Okay, so you can do as many corners as you want or edges. Let's select that one and then this one. Set them both back just a little bit. Make them rounded, not squared off. Kind of like that. Now, as I mentioned before I got started designing this, this is not going to look like the first one I showed you, because that one I've already designed. And each time we design something, it's always going to be a little bit different. But that's okay. These are your designs as well. So we need to, again, make multiples of these. And how are we going to do that? We are going to create a pattern. Whoops. My finger clicked before I was ready. Again, back up here to create a pattern. Pattern on path. Select our object, which is this is our object. Path direction, our path is going to be this. And we will just zoom in here a little bit, get eyeball it real close. That's good enough to me. If you wanted only 3, you would be done. And in order to always have a center one over your keystone, the quantity is going to have to be an odd number. Let's bump up to 5, see what that looks like. 7. Let's do 7. Nah, let's back it back down to 5. That's what I did on the first model. That'll work. Click OK. I like that. So let us go and turn everything else off except for that. Let's combine these into one. So click on the header first since we named that. Come back here, left click and drag to select everything else. Make sure the operation is join. Click OK, and there is our header. This is what we have so far. Now you notice I have not joined any of this to the actual tunnel portal wall itself. And I'm doing that on purpose. Once I show you guys how to do this, you can always come back and turn all this stuff off here and create your own. If you want to create something that looks like it's out of an old western gold mine with just a timber framed opening or what have you, you've got your basic start right here. But let's get back and let's finish our brickwork now. So we have our brickwork and we need to bring this all the way up to the top. And how are we going to do that? You guessed it, we are going to do a pattern again. So pattern on path. Make sure we select all of our brick. Come over here, select path. Using that as our path. Again, I like to use path direction. Let's just drag this all the way to the top here. Once again, we're going to zoom in. Now, granted, our header is going to cover this up. Actually, I'll probably delete a few of these on the top, but we still have to have this up here so we can get the right distance for all of them. And we do not want, come on, where I want you. Okay, you see where I made that mortar line? I want to go above that a little bit. I actually want to line the brick up at the top, not the mortar line. Again, we don't need just to click the quantity. I'm going to start with an arbitrary number. Let's do 36, see what that looks like. And it's way too much. So let's do 26. This is quite a bit of computational algorithms for your computer, so it may take a moment to catch up, like mine did there. 26 is getting us there. It's getting us close. 27, 28. Yep, it's thinking. From what I can tell, doing brickwork is one of the toughest parts for modeling for your computer as far as lag time. You know, I do have a gaming computer. It's pretty decent one, and I still, as you can tell, It's lagging. Let's just go ahead and it's still lagging. Alright guys, I had to pause the recording there for just a moment. My computer was taking forever to do the computations to create all of this brick texture. To help you guys out, if you followed along with me to the point to where you extended on the path from the bottom of the wall to the top, and you had just the 3 rows of the brick texture, and you've got it to where your mortar joint is overhanging the top of the actual wall like that, like I do here. For your quantity, just type in 35 and that'll give you this. And it may take, depending on your computer, you know, even a good fast computer like mine, it took a couple of minutes for it to render it all. Okay, so our brick texture for the most part is done. What I like to do next is I am going to turn my header back on, see where that sits. And this is something you really don't have to do it, but I like to do it. It's not going to show up when you print, but I like to make sure. So I'm going to click on that one, hold down your control key, and just start clicking on a few of them. Okay, I don't want that one because that small part of the brick shows. And then we will right click and click on delete. Again, this may take a few moments for these to delete. Alright guys, I'm going to suggest do not delete those bricks. It's really not necessary, and that took about 5 minutes. That was ridiculous. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually turn off this header, and I am going to combine these bricks with this back wall. Hopefully that will help free up some computer memory, power, video card, whatever it is using. And this again is probably going to take a few minutes to do this. So what I did, of course, I clicked on combine, clicked on the tunnel portal wall, and then right click and dragged over all of the bricks. Make sure the operation is join, click OK. Let's see how fast this works. You know, again, this is this is a problem with doing bricks. It takes a lot of computer power to do them. Hopefully, by joining these with this wall, now it's just one unit, so maybe that'll be a little bit better as far as the speed goes. But turn the header back on because I am actually going to join that with this as well, combine it. So, alright, this is one unit. Now, we're going to finish off getting through just the actual basic tunnel portal here. And in my next video, we're going to make it a little fancy. So let's go ahead, let's put the frame back on, let's put the keystone on so we can see them. And let's do our opening. Now we're going to want to move this opening here so we can cut a hole through everything. So grab your move copy tool, grab your opening, and just slide it all the way through. Click OK. Now we're going to do combine. So we want to combine it with the brick and the actual tunnel wall, but since we made it all one unit now, we just click on that. That is our target body. This is our tool body that I just clicked. We want to cut, and I am going to keep the tool just in case I need it, just in case I mess something up. Click OK. Let us turn off our opening. And there is our basic tunnel portal. Now you guys could stop right here. You do not actually have to combine any of this. When you export it, it will export as one unit to be printed. I am going to finish something up here. I'm going to actually I'm going to bring my keystone all the way through the opening here. So I am just going to press pull, grab the back of the keystone again, just start pulling it, click on the back of the wall, Click OK. There we go. Something I have not done at all through this build is I have not saved it. That's a big no-no. So let's just hit Control S. Alright guys, this is where we're going to end this video. There was a lot of pausing just because of doing this brickwork, and no matter what computer you use, it's going to take a minute for the computer to computate all of these bricks to make it work. If you're happy with this right now, you could just export it and export it as an STL, and you can print it out to your heart's content. When we come back, there's going to be 2 more videos. I'm going to make some fancy stanchions, if you will, on either side like you saw in my finished tunnel portal that I showed at the very first video. And then the last video is something I have not shown you, but I'm going to make a very short tunnel liner with brick. Something may not be necessary for N scale. You may not be able to see into the tunnel because it's so small, but as always, this what I'm doing here can be used for any scale. You just have to convert all the measurements to your particular scale. So until then, we'll see you next time.